You are so prompt.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I am actually really bad at being prompt, so this is like a new thing for me because I actually spend a lot of time figuring out what time zones people are in and never know where I never know.
I can't.
Like,
That's why I said it 17 times in our emails, like Eastern Standard, because I'm really bad about time and space and how it all changes, how
I'm
people around
so
the
glad
world
that
are in
you
the
are.
future and we're behind, but we're not behind. We're right on time. It's
Yeah. Well, I don't understand the line at which in the ocean they decide that time starts over. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
No, I know.
In the Pacific Ocean, it starts over,
Oh,
right?
that's too much. I don't need to know that. I
I
can't.
think because it's
I can't.
rotating, it's always the line is the same, but the world is rotating. Landon, on one of our recent podcasts, um, I shared with Kristen that I had recently found out that people thought Alaska was an island underneath California.
Yes, I've seen that.
And you don't think that, right? You know where
Well, Mississippi may not have the strongest education background, but they did teach us geography. They were like,
yeah, okay. Listen, North Carolina's 49. If Mississippi's 50, North Carolina's 49.
Yeah.
So no shade.
Yeah. We're bad.
Yeah, we're real bad.
But we did have the geography. I did have a second grade teacher who was pretty serious about us knowing the states. So that we got it there. But the time zones, I'll never get used to that. And I just miss so many meetings. But what I've done is just gotten like really good at being very in the moment, like improv. Like I can, okay, we had a meeting right now. I knew that, you know?
Yeah. Totally knew
I
that.
knew. I was
We want
ready.
to thank you for joining us for this because we're just peasants. We're just tiny little peasants in the
No.
podcast world.
We really are. You jumping in and doing this is so big for us. We're so thankful.
Well, y'all are so cool, and this is so wild because I just talked to this glass box all day, so I'm also a peasant, and also y'all's podcast name couldn't be more southern.
Thank you. All that to say.
All that to say.
All
Yeah.
that to say, she's still just dot dot dot.
We have so much to say, and we're gonna make sure we say it.
Yeah.
That's how our intro goes, and people love to repeat it. But are you ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. How do you want to ask first about like the backstory?
Yeah, I want to know. Well, we want to know because we have probably only found you in the last year or two, I'd say.
That lines up.
Yeah. So what
makes
was the first viral video that like everybody found you from?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two sections of this basically. Like I started Instagram a while ago, and I had one of my first videos went very viral, and it was of my wife that she's a special ed teacher or was a special ed teacher. Now she's helping me do all this, but she's a sped teacher, and she also looks and sounds like a Disney princess, and she was Belle in like a musical. So she dressed up as Belle to go to read a story to one of her students on a Friday night for their birthday party. And before she got there, she was in the Belle dress and she sat down and like sighed, and I got that moment on camera. It was like a 7-second clip, and I put it on there, and it went nuts. People loved it. So I was like, well, okay, this is fun. But that was a couple of years ago or so, and so I was just doing like just random stuff on, and I wasn't very consistent with it. I would just like kind of think of funny stuff, and then one we were just talking one day, and she was like, you should tell, like I talk too much, obviously, right? And one day I think I watched her eyes like glaze over as I was like talking at her, and she was saying, you should tell your stories on Instagram because they're very funny and people would love it. And so I told the story of Walmart High School, because we went to Walmart High School.
Wait.
Right.
It's called Walmart High School?
Figured we would pause there. Well, okay, so we went to West Jones High School.
Okay.
But it got blown away by a tornado during spring break, which is very southern. So they put us in the Walmart. We just got a new super Walmart, and they put us in the Walmart, the old Walmart, and put cubicles up. So there was like no ceilings, just like the Walmart ceiling, the Walmart intercom. The bell was an air horn. The principals wore their Walmart vests. It was a whole thing, and they pretended for like 3 days that we were doing school, and then they were like, "Man!" And the governor even like pardoned us from state tests because it was like a whole thing. So I told, right.
It's so Southern. It's so trashy. It's so
is.
everything that I want a good story to be. And you really delivered, and I appreciate
Well,
it. How long were y'all in the Walmart?
we were in Walmart from spring break till the rest of that year. They're in the people graduated from Walmart high school. They did. They did. And we had lunch in layaway, and we had no lunch was in the garden center, and choir was in layaway.
Because you can
And
be outdoors, and you wanna be a little bit outside when you're eating lunch.
exactly. It was like a whole thing. So it was a thing. So I told that story, and people had questions. But in that story, I said fixin' to, and I don't remember what I said about it. And I saw so many comments about like what, and I was like, hold on, I have to explain fixin' to? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, what do y'all say if not fixing to? And so that was the first discussion. And then we just kept discussing, and here we are. And it started that. But that was in February. Like, that was the last week of February of this year. So I went from like 6,000 followers to now there's 370 since February. And it has been wild.
Wait a minute. So February of this year.
This year, I was teaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were teaching art, right?
Yes, art at a really intense art school. It's a public school, but it's a school that teaches the academics using art. So I also taught like every grade as well. Like, I mean, I taught 4K through 6th grade art, but then I also would be assigned to a different grade every week, and we would teach their academics using art. And the music teacher did the same thing, and the PE teacher and the dance teacher. So it was really great school, but very intense.
That's amazing.
It sounds like the complete opposite of Walmart high school.
It is the opposite of Walmart, and I did not go to this school as a child. My son gets to go there now, and I'm really glad. But it's a really great school, and it's public school, so it's super good. But I was doing all that, and I started doing this, and it was really hard to do all this at the same time as teaching. But I got through. I knew I felt like I was like, just be consistent with it, and it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. And then at the end of the school year, I got presented with a lot of opportunities, and we decided we had to step away so somebody else could be in that role, because they need somebody there, and I was going to miss a lot because I've got a book deal and a few other things going on. So it just blew up so fast, and now here we are, and this is what I'm doing full time. And it like, I don't believe it every day. Like, my body doesn't believe that I'm supposed to be home. Like, I'm like nervous, like I'm missing something.
You overslept your alarm. Lunch is packed. The kids need you. Where are they? Line up. Clap once. Clap twice. You can't hear me.
Where our bottom's supposed to be on our stools, like, I don't have to do that. So it's a whole thing.
I would love for him to be my teacher.
I know.
I
know that we need great teachers, and I know that you are a fabulous one, but this is a way of teaching too.
Yes, like, you are still teaching.
Well, I feel like going from talking to 4-year-olds to 6th graders every day made me learn how to communicate the concept. So here we are communicating the concept, and I just kind of treat everybody like they're 4-year-olds and go from there.
And that's how we should be treating people on Instagram, because that's oftentimes their maturity level. So
I'm just going to assume we're coming from that level, and then we'll...
What did they say? Tell me like I'm 5. Talk to me like I'm 5 or something. That tracks. And so this all happened since February. What has that
February
been like?
Just wild. It's like, I really don't comprehend it. After a certain point, it's just numbers and me talking to this glass box, and occasionally there's people on the other side, but most of the time it's just me talking to myself, I feel like. So it's very weird, because it's when I go out in public in my town, people have always known me because it's a small town, and now the tourists that come here, because there's an HGTV show about Laurel. It's Hometown, the TV show Hometown with Ben Napier is about this town. So there's a lot of tourists, and they come, and now they've started recognizing me, but they're always really good about it. But we recently went to Disney World. Is a trip we had planned for years, because we were public school teachers, so we like paid for it over a long time, but we got to go for it, and it was super fun, and I was blown away by the amount of people that recognized me. And one time I how sometimes you just feel ugly, and I didn't want to be seen. I didn't feel like being perceived. So I put my hair up and put a hat on and sunglasses, and I was getting away with it. And then every time I would like say words, somebody would be like, "Are you?" And I would be like,
"Yeah." You're talking. Landon talks.
You have a very distinct voice and a very distinct way. Like, your videos, not only are you educating, and it's so funny. It's so funny. What I love about it is you are being very sincere in the videos. You are letting people know true things about the South.
Yeah.
but it is coming across so funny, but it's also so soothing to me to scroll through your videos, your voice, your demeanor, your candor. Like, it is just so, don't you think?
Has the Calm app hit you up to tell stories for the like nighttime meditation app yet?
They haven't, but people tag them all the time. So I'm just waiting on that email. We'll get that email eventually. Yeah, there's so much to unpack there because the voice thing, this is another thing that's so wild. And again, it's also soon, so that's so crazy that like, but the voice thing. So I'm in Mississippi, and there's good old boys here, and it's football, that kind of a thing. And I've never been that kind of a person or a man, and so I spent a lot of my life like trying to make my voice lower and trying to not have any feminine qualities, that whole sort of thing. And it's just like a whole thing. And this has celebrated me for those qualities. And it's the craziest thing to me because I almost honestly didn't consider myself super Southern because I'm not the image of like Southern man. When you put that in the dictionary, like it wouldn't be me, I thought. And this has really made me relate to like I am, and I have ownership of it. And it like is part of me. I don't know, it's a whole thing. It's been such a journey. And then like the celebrities I've gotten to talk to, just wild.
Yeah, I know.
Like y'all,
I know,
exactly.
like just like us. And it's crazy that you're putting us in that category with everybody else.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. No, but tell us about some of that.
Yeah,
the people you've met and talked to, and who's following you and like sharing your stuff pretty consistently because they like you as a person in addition to what you're saying.
Well, it's wild because it's like there's so many of them. But the first one, though, was really Jennifer Garner, I think. And I think she helped set it off because she shared it, and she's from Houston. And my Houston market, like that blew up on, like it was mostly people from Houston. And then they shared it. So I think she's responsible for the most of the rise of it.
Until this comes out. Yes. Until this comes
until y'all, then I'm going to blow up.
Yeah, obviously.
This will be the blow up. But, and then Chrissy Teigen shared it, and that was nuts. And then since then, it's just been so many people. Like, but I geek out about like random, like, okay, well, Justin Timberlake followed me, and I didn't know for like 2 weeks, and then I saw that, and I had a full blown existential crisis, and was like, oh my god. So I had to like really come to Jesus and be like, I either care that Justin Timberlake is following me, or I don't care, and I'm gonna do what I'm doing. And I had to like not care, but every now and then I am like, oh my god, look. Well,
he's from Memphis, so he's a Southern boy.
True.
So that's he goes south, and he used to have like a strong Southern accent, and then came into the whole juggernaut of Disney, and they probably changed his voice a little bit too. And we also have to be like, who's really seeing what, right? So you just keep doing you.
Yes.
Hopefully he is seeing it. Maybe he has the notifications turned on.
I know, but that's so smart of you to just like
block it out.
Block that out, push it away in your mind, and just say, I'm going to stay in my lane.
Yes.
And you know what I was thinking about with him when you went on that influencer thing?
Yes.
And you were talking to the guy who said you just need to like niche down. You have to niche down when you want to really be viral and have that content that people keep coming back for.
Yeah.
You've got to, and I was consistently do the same thing, and you are mastering that. But somehow every time it's different enough that it's drawing people in.
It's because his backgrounds are so catchy. So obviously you're an art teacher. I'm assuming that you're making all of the backgrounds.
I just make them in Canva, and it's really just such a simple process. It's not really that much involved.
Yeah. So I figured you're making them in Canva, and then you're putting them up. Some people thought that they were like green screens you were just finding. And I said, no, they're way too specific. And they still have this very common theme of the bright colors and the way that the fruits are just so placed. Like, obviously, you know what you're doing. I was talking to Landon because he's going to Country Cares for St. Jude.
Okay.
So they invited you to get publicity, I assume, about the concert.
It's like it was a radiothon for the longest, and this is like they've transformed it last year into like a content creator in-person thing along with the radiothon, is what I understand. I just understood yesterday because they called me, and I was like, okay, what is exactly?
But now know what you're wearing yet? Because if not, Kristen might be able to help walk you through that.
Well, okay. Well, we have two options, and I'm going with the turtleneck. We're going to do a turtleneck, like a thin turtleneck. Okay. But I've got these. So the youths are telling me that the skinny legs are out, which is devastating.
I know.
So I bought these like wide leg, high waisted like pants and that I might wear with the turtleneck. But then I also have an emerald suit though. Okay, but like is it too informal? Because I have an emerald suit that could go with the turtleneck. I like the wide
because it's a country cares concert.
Yeah,
what country? It's St. Jude Country Care, so it's gonna be all these country people, and then all these people listening to the music. And then they said they said casual cocktail, right?
Yes. What does that mean?
Casual cocktail. What does that mean? And so I was telling him, like, could it be a linen suit, no tie, with cowboy boots?
Sure.
But I just think that whatever you wear, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you look great. Too casual, too dressy, like it's a country concert. It's a music concert.
And I think if it's a nice pair of jeans, like we know the difference between our, junky pair of jeans.
Right.
Jeans. Yeah. It's a nice pair of jeans and a really nice shoe with the jean.
That's the only thing left is the shoe. And I think I'm going to find that today. I think I
need to get like a good looking shoe under that jean. And I think he'll be good.
Yeah. Just send it to Kristen. She'll give you the yes or the no.
Oh, well.
She's the fashionista, but I hope you noticed we both popped our collars.
Yes.
Because it feels Southern preppy to be
nice. It does,
the collar.
And I have this mug that does say "Happy Fall, y'all."
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes.
We wanted the y'all for you
because somebody did ask you on a comment. I remember this. Somebody said to you, "What's your favorite Southern word, or what's the most Southern word?" And I think you wrote back and you were like, "It's got to be y'all," because
I mean, there's the most Southern thing I can think of. It's got to be y'all. That's what.
Yeah.
But I am surprised every day with what is Southern. Like, I will say things that I think I'm just regularly communicating with people, and then in the comments people will be like, "What did you mean?" And I'm like, wow, it really shocks me. So the content like makes itself kind of like, it just kind of builds its own thing.
Well,
so
what you're saying about that, because I wrote down, like, when you think to the future and you say, what is the content going to be that keeps coming? Because there probably is a little bit of pressure to say, I've got to keep coming up with things. Mm-hmm. So you're saying the content kind of writes itself, even just in the comments. And there's Southern things that just come up all the time, every day,
changing,
that we take for granted, things that we're saying, but other people
will say something today that I'll recognize and will be like that. And then, but I just have to walk outside my door. Like my grandma literally walked in my house the other day and I was like, "How are you doing?" And she said, "I'd have to feel better to die." And I was like, God, like, gotta put that down. So it's just like everywhere. I'm immersed in it. I can't escape it. And I did spend like the first month or two, I was like, gotta get it going and make sure we have content. And I was worried about, is there going to be content? But now I mean, I've done it through migraines and the flu and COVID, and I usually have something to say. So I'm less nervous about that.
Like, I love that. I love that it's happening organically.
Yeah, you're not going to run. I just don't think that you're going to run out of things.
Well, I have this giant list. Anytime I hear anybody say something or notice something, I just have on my reminders app, and it is just a long list of so many things.
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
So here's what's funny about Kristen and me is that we both have grown up in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's like a little bit was outside of it in a smaller town outside of Charlotte, but it doesn't matter. It's all Charlotte.
Yeah.
Right.
And I grew up in Charlotte, but I was raised by Yankees in Charlotte. I was raised by New York and Ohio transplants in Charlotte, but she was raised by genuine Southerners in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And Charlotte is a transplant town. So half of our community, like we're 1.5 million, 2 million, are all transplants from the North. So I added a layer onto it where my parents put me in Catholic school, which is even more full of Northern people. So like if I talk to my Northern family, they think I have an accent. But when I'm down here and I talk to Southern people, like your mom, then she has an accent.
Yeah.
And it's funny how we've been raised in the same place. And like Kristen has so many more Southern traditions because her parents are Southerners versus mine because mine are Northerners.
Yeah.
And so even though we were both raised in North Carolina, I'm not really that Southern of a girl.
Yeah. But I do feel like the deeper south you go, like down to where you are, you're gonna find that pocket where it's inescapable. Just the Southernisms and the lifestyle even.
Definitely. It's inescapable. And then there's Appalachia, which is like Southern times 2. It's its own thing. It's like, I feel like we just evolved from that. So it's a whole thing. And y'all are right beside that. It's funny that you said that.
I went to Appalachian. That was my college.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know. And so then I was around a lot of Appalachian people, and a whole nother ball game there.
A whole nother ball game. But I see where it, like with them, I see where ours came from. Like it's very clear. Like we are just like the LITE version of, that, you know, like that's the whole thing. But it's interesting that you said that about North Carolina transplants, because I don't get to read all the comments, but I try to, and I've seen so many comments of people when I'll ask for something, people will say like, well, we say it this way in North Carolina, but there's so many transplants. I see that comment all the time. That's for real.
There's so many. Our city is full of it, and we've totally outgrown it too.
Yeah.
Like we're bursting at the seams because so many people have moved down here. And I love it. Like I can see why people want to come here because I think it's fabulous. Oh, it's great. But
well, you have some insight in something being from, are you from Ohio? Your parents are from, one of your parents is from Ohio.
Dad is Ohio. Mom is upstate New York.
Okay. Well, here's a question that has been coming up for me lately. People from Ohio really comment on my videos and relate to them, especially like familial structure.
Yeah.
And things like that. And like salads that aren't salads.
Yeah.
I just like wonder, Ohio's tips into the southern stuff a little bit. Like
it's not so close because it backs up to Kentucky. So my husband's family is also from Ohio, and they are on the most southern tip. So they're in a place called Portsmouth, and it's spelled Portsmouth. If that gives you any indication, they call it Portsmouth. And so because it bumps up to Kentucky, it's very southern. I feel like when I go up there, I feel like it could be the South. But then if you were to go to Cincinnati or Cleveland, Ohio, then they consider themselves either Northerners or maybe Midwesterners. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I know where Alaska is. And that's important.
And then it's not an island.
But these people in Ohio really is, I think it's similar to Florida, where some people in Florida consider themselves Southern. They're at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then people in Miami are like, absolutely not.
Yes.
It's a 305.
Yes. It's a myth. And I think
and then there's Texas.
We're misunderstood.
Yeah.
Ohio's kind of been the butt of a lot of jokes, I feel like, over the years. People that come from there and move away from there and
but great engagement, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Okay, speaking of engagement, let's talk about your engagement, because before we got this going, your engagement on your reels is incredible, at least from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
You can see the numbers better than we can, but from what it looks like, you're not only getting a lot of likes, but a ton of comments. So,
and I think that's what's valuable about this account is the comments. And I think it's like, I'm really glad that it's turned into something that it's not just me that people come there for. It's for that community of people and all those comments, because they're hilarious. There's hours worth of entertainment just reading through the comments of people, like, and it's hilarious. All the things are so funny, and it's a strangely kind place on the internet, which is wild, because before, when I would put things, I would do like quick little teacher videos and get the most awful messages from people, just like people hate teachers. But I don't get ugly messages at all. I even will go like look at the hidden ones every now and then, and it's just it's really rare for me to get like really ugly messages, but before I would get them. So it's so strange. It's
so incredible that you do not get, because I see them and I read through them and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and there's nothing.
People, I know, it's wild to you. I think it speaks to though this moment in time, and I think that like kind of why it's rose so much is the moment. Like last year and years before that, everybody's been so mad and everybody's so divisive, and there's so much to be mad about, and it's very easy to be so mad about it, and living here is a whole thing. But people want a place to go that is not ugly, it turns out. And all these people, all these ladies, men, all these Sunday school people who would be being ugly on Facebook got a spot where they know to come, and the tone is already set, and it's just a chance to be nice to each other. And I think people want that. Like, I think people desire that now. I don't think we knew that we needed nice spaces before all this. And now
I think we took it for granted. I think
exactly.
Before COVID, the majority of people were kind of nice to each other. And then with politics and COVID and everything,
we all got online.
they got so mad and they couldn't go see anybody. So they just had to get online to be mad.
Yeah.
And now finally we're starting to come through a little bit of that. I
think we've learned that we don't love that. And so this is a place for people. And it's like, there's all sorts of people in my life down here. And that's part of living in the South, is that there's extremes in all forms. And it's very hard to think about like what to do about that. Like, what are we going to do about that? Because it's like your family and your friends, and they think opposite of each other, and even things that you might consider dangerous. But this has turned into something where it's kind of like getting us all at the same table.
Yeah.
And if we can all be at the same table and argue about mayonnaise, then maybe in the future we can argue about
other things with some decorum.
And understand that we're still people and that we still have things in common. So it's like, can be this whole meta situation. It's changed my relationship with my town. It's changed my relationship with my family. It's made me see how Southern I am. I don't know. It's a whole
so amazing.
And I would say too,
just talking about ambrosia. I just think, my God.
Right.
Ambrosia could bring people together like this.
Exactly. Well, I think for us, so we started this podcast in a sense to just trying to kind of do the same thing. Put something good out into the world, giggle, laugh, not take things so seriously, be a safe place that everyone knows they can tune into our podcast and know it's not going to be divisive. It's not going to be political, whatever.
There's enough of that everywhere else.
Yeah. And so there's
plenty of places to go.
Yeah, that's the energy we wanted to have. And I think for a little bit there, I thought, is that, is it shallow, or is it not that we're not caring enough about bigger issues? And the more this goes on, and then to watch your account and to see that engagement and how many people are excited to comment about mayonnaise or cardinals or acorns on a tin roof, that tells me people are looking for the community, the connection, and a safe place to be. And you have done that. And I think there's so few places like that on the internet.
I don't know of many.
I don't either.
In my head, I can think of like 3 accounts maybe. And ours is one and yours is one. And so that third member of the wolf pack,
we'll find them.
Tough to get in. They're going to be tough to get in, but I'll think about it. We'll discuss it.
And what you said about it being shallow, I think about that all the time. I think about like, am I not using the platform the way it should be? Like, am I using it correctly? But then I think about like, there's something to be said about like modeling behavior instead of yelling it at people. And I know that from teaching and being a parent, like that's the whole thing. So I'm trying to take it from that approach. And I hope that if somebody came to my account, they would understand like the main point is like, like if you come from a place of kindness, that's going to be the best scenario. And if we can learn that lesson together, then I don't know.
And I love that you're like, we're not going to be ugly about this. We're going to have our manners about this. And you're reminding people, like you're even saying it out loud and in the caption too. And it's kind of a shame that we have to still do that. It's like, we are just talking about pears and mayonnaise. Relax. Right. Like it's deep, but it's not that deep. And we have to have some perspective on that.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, I'm by no means like a social media expert. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an art teacher with a history degree. I don't know anything about this, but I've noticed that if I preface it like this is going to be a discussion, y'all, be nice, it pulls people to listen more. Like it pulls them in, and then they do comment. So it's really interesting.
Do that. We got to start all of our reels with, we might be fighting up in here, but keep listening and then play nice.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing. And then I always end it with a prompt, like a question like about your place. And I try to include people who are not from the South in those questions. Like, what about where you're from? That whole situation. But it is really something as far as like from a social media analytics standpoint, it's wild how if I don't do that, if I don't set the prompt up, there's not engagement. There will be 300 comments instead of thousands. It's like a whole thing. And it's really, that seems so simple, but it's for real. People need guidance and they want to be invited to the conversation. Nobody wants to have to break the seal or feel like they're not supposed to be there. But if you invite people to there, then now we're all here and it's a comfortable place. So there's like tips and tricks, but I made them all up. I don't know where
I love that you're just like flying by the seat of your pants, just like figuring it out, and it's working for you.
It's working. Yeah. Well, there was something, you posted a reel recently and I can't remember, but it had something to do with maybe sleep. And so I then added a question at the end. Are you a night owl or a morning person? Because I was just trying to get people to engage. Because I'm an influencer in my other job. And so I have to play the game, but I'm terrible. I'm like
Well, I'm going to go follow you as soon as we get off of here. You have to tell me so that I can see all y'all.
Well, that's so very, very sweet. I'll let you know. It's Miranda and CLT. So like Miranda and Charlotte's the name.
Yeah.
Oh, Miranda and Charlotte.
Yeah, you can't follow Kristen because she's private.
I'm keeping it.
She keeps it locked up.
I'm keeping it locked up.
I think there's something to be said. There's something to be said about keeping it private for sure.
Is this your only account though? Landon Talks is your only one?
It is my only account. So if you see another Landon, it's a fraud. And there are a lot of them. And at first when that started happening, I like worried about it so much. And I was like, oh my God. But it would be like 8 of them a day. So I finally just gave up and was like, I made a reel that was like, listen, if you don't see this verified check mark, it's not me. Don't give them money. Don't do anything like that. Because it's just so much. Okay. Miranda I-N.
I got it. CLT.
CLT.
You'll see the purple hair.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Yay. Oh, you are an influencer. Look at you go.
I know. Look at her.
I have an angel number right now as my followers, so I don't want to move it. I have 22.2, so the 222.
Oh my God.
I know, and that's what happened when we found the SD card.
But when you get 22.7,
then that's my lucky number.
That's her lucky number. Do you have a lucky number, Landon?
I don't really. Don't really necessarily. But all the numbers.
Yeah, what are your superstitions?
There's so many superstitions. I mean, I'm not really honestly very superstitious, but I love to like lean into the superstitions of down here. There's so many available. I mean, there's so many available. Like I do talk to the Cardinals like they're people. Obviously, that's the whole thing. You know, I mean, there's superstitions in almost everything that we do. It's very superstitious culture, and that surprises me too. But it's the whole thing. Even like our porches are a paint color because of superstitions, you know?
Yes.
The roof has to be that blue because it keeps out the souls.
Well, I learned from your reel the other day about the rocking chair with the ghost.
Did you know that? I didn't know that until somebody told me.
No, I was shook if. But honestly, I'm going to let mine rock because we're trying to get a ghost. We're trying to get an alien. We're trying to get something supernatural to visit us. And so I am
there's so many rocking chair rock. There's so many things, and I looked into it because like I'm writing a book about the South, and one of the chapters is going to be on superstitions. And like, I mean, the porch, the ceiling is blue. Did you know the bottle trees are a superstition? I thought that was just like a junky thing that we did that was like, this is not junk anymore, it's art, you know, like I was like, that's something we do.
We make everything art in the South. Everything is art.
Right. Like we stuck bottles on the tree and we're like, okay, it's art. It's like fashion. But the blue bottles are supposed to catch them. That's the whole thing. The spirits get trapped up in that blue. I didn't know that. And then
it's the blue.
It's that blue. They don't like that.
Because she learned about the cardinal that if you see a dead cardinal, so she learned in your comment section, not in a live cardinal.
The place to be.
Yeah, we already know what the alive cardinals are, but once you see a dead one, you have 5 seconds to touch something.
Well, okay. So it was someone from Appalachia, which you mentioned.
They know.
So this person said, they said 2 things with the cardinals. 1, if you see a cardinal, before it flies away, you need to touch the color blue and make a wish. Okay, that was one. The other one, they said, if you see a dead cardinal, that was your ancestor interceding for you to keep you safe from death. So you were supposed to die, but they came along and took the death for you.
So incredible. That is so nuanced because we love guilt down here. That is like an excellent way of guilting us even more. Like you are fully dead and still I'm guilty.
Yes, it's so true.
We love guilt.
So I was raised Catholic, so I'm just filled with guilt shame up to the brim, can't get any more. So you can try, but like I'm already at 100 max capacity. And so we had talked about your account on a previous podcast weeks ago. And Kristen talks about this whole dead cardinal thing. Did I know this? And I said, no, of course not. I didn't know any of this. And then her husband is walking on their path at their house and he sees a dead cardinal and he has no clue we've had this conversation.
He saw a dead cardinal. I've never seen a dead cardinal.
I've never in my life seen one. I've never in my life. If I do see one, it's going to be y'all's fault because I've never heard of this before. So like I will be assigning
Well, it's technically your fault because it was in your comments. So.
Okay.
There's your comments, which, as we have gone over, are very engaging and a great place to be. So we are in there a lot.
It's fun. You can spend hours there. It's a place.
A lot of the things that we've already talked about almost feels like things that you hear in New Orleans, like the superstitions and the voodoo and the blue and all this stuff. And it's almost like some of those things happen in New Orleans, which is French, correct?
But it's the Creole part.
Yeah.
So the Creole part, I think, is what's bumping up that Southern.
Yes. And it's like over the years, it's just infiltrated up, and then the higher north you get, it kind of fades out.
Yeah.
I don't know, y'all surely all know that y'all are responsible for a lot of the superstitions, though, especially the Haint Blue, because the Haint Blue comes from the Gullah Geechee people on the Eastern Shore, is where they were. They're all throughout now, and they are the ones who would originally like paint their like shutters or like door frames with that Haint Blue because they had recently been brought across water, and spirits don't like to cross the water. So the water was keeping the spirits out of the places, so that it comes from them. It's their tradition, and then it just turned into paint, and then it got on our ceilings, and here it is. But it
turned into paint because we can sell paint, and that makes money.
Right, exactly.
All it is about the money. Every superstition, just follow the money and see where it goes.
That's right.
It is. And I got to talk to the Gullah Gullah Island mom and the Gullah Gullah Island dad, and I just love, like, they're just so great. That mom is so great, and I will never call her Natalie. She's only the Gullah Gullah Island mom, but
obviously,
really great. Yeah. She's one of the celebrities that I was like dead on the floor about. I was like, oh my god, her. And Pat Atchell followed me a couple weeks ago, and I will never recover it because it was like
we love Southern Charm.
Love Southern Charm.
Oh my god! And honestly, of course she should be following you. She's very Southern. She's very traditional. It's the perfect fit.
Yes.
Well, I try not to be calculated because I'm not. I just like go in the moment. I'm so ADHD. But I knew that she loved kaftans, and I made a video about kaftans with the thought in the back of my mind that maybe it would get to Pat, and it did. And I'm so
the amount of people hand me the picture. The amount of people who sent me your kaftan video. Because I love a kaftan. Here I am in a fabulous kaftan at the Greenbrier,
and
which is West Virginia.
You have the spirit of a kaftan. You have the spirit of a kaftan. It's like
I do. You do have the spirit of a kaftan.
And I used to have the body for a kaftan. So
there is no body.
I'm on a weight loss journey, and so that kaftan hit a lot. And that's why I really love them so much, is because you can fluctuate a good 50, 60.
Yeah.
And no one knows.
No one would,
because that kaftan just hides it all.
They're none.
Well, I think they're just so elegant. It's just so classy, but simple at the same time. It's so fun. But I got Pat that way. So I had a list, and it was Pat and Dolly is next. Dolly's the only one that's left. And I'm coming at her from so many angles. Like, I've got to deal with Dollywood. I'm trying to get there that way in the book. Okay, here's the thing. In the book deal, I'm just like, this is all outrageous, and it sounds like I'm making it all up. I feel like every day when I say things like this, but so I had the top 4 publishers like in a bidding war over the situation. Amazing. And one gave a really high number, and all the numbers were high because I'm a public school teacher, so it's like, this is all outrageous to me.
Yeah.
But I went with the second highest one because and not the highest one, because it came with the high possibility that Dolly might write intro. And I was like, done. Check. For the literal So
love Dolly so much too. I'm a Dollywood aficionado, a stan. I love her so much, and if I were to meet her, I would absolutely lose my mind.
I've listened to her music since I was little. Right. I love it.
She's an icon. Her everything about her is an icon. She might be somebody that I wouldn't be able to meet and like be regular. Like, I might be super weird and like stop talking. I don't know. I can handle a lot of people, but that might be too much. I don't know. So
I think you'd be fine, and here's why: because you have such a sweet spirit, and so does she. And I feel like she would make you feel so comfortable, and y'all would connect easily. So
game recognizes game.
Yeah.
Well, one day we'll see.
Okay. So I have to ask. So you're doing the book. Do you have any merch yet? Like shirts with Southern sayings and that kind of stuff? Is that in the works?
I do. I've had some merch that we just put together with a print on demand, but I have another thing coming up that is going to be really cool that I'm so excited about. There's a brand called well, it's Lingua Franca is the brand in New York City, and they're just so fancy. It's like a whole nother next level. And being in meetings with them is like the chicest thing I've literally ever done. Just like talking to them, I'm like, I'm not worthy. I should change or something, like I don't know. It's wild to me. But
just wear all black and you'll always look like you fit in a New York meeting.
I mean, but this late, like I've never been in the meeting with somebody who has people like fluttering around them, like fluttering, and that's who these people are. It's really
very
something.
They're busily behind them doing all
oh my gosh.
And they just are so nice to me. It's really just something else. Anyway, so that will be coming out in November, and I don't know how much I'm supposed to say about it, but I don't know what I'm doing, so I get to talk. But it's gonna be really cool. There's gonna be some like higher end stuff, and then there's gonna be some like cotton things that are really well. But there'll be some cashmere hand stitched sweaters with sayings and fun things like that. So we're getting there with merch, and we're gonna do like a little something like a mug for the holidays. But we're building it. So with all basically like the monetization of this is like a whole thing, and it is hard. It's so hard to understand. And I am Southern, first of all. So negotiating is not my strong point because that's being direct. It's like being very direct and also like demanding, and that is not it. That's not what I'm about. Like, I'll be like, yeah, I agree with that, and even I talk so much, but okay. So when all this started, and I got going, Erin Napier is in our town. Erin and Ben Napier, and they're so wonderful. And I've been friends with them for so long. I've been friends with her since we were kids. And I went to her and was like, help me, So she set up a meeting with her manager, and I got to sit down with him, and he helped me price things and be like, this is how much you should negotiate. But I left that meeting and being like, yeah, right. That those numbers are outrageous. So I cut the number by like a third, to down to like a third of what the number was. And this was for Bush's baked beans. So I sent that a third of the number estimate, and they came back and were like, this is egregiously low. We've never paid this much. And they came back to me with the number that he said. And I was like, what? So that was a lesson that I've learned. But even knowing that, it's very hard. It's still so hard for me for somebody to come into and ask me how much a reel would be worth. It's just absurd. But I finally have signed with an agent, and even finding an agent is a whole thing. But again, I have to thank Erin because she got me my literary agent, the first agent that I signed with, and that was like and that was a long time ago. That was like in March. Like that was really quickly. The literary agent showed up really fast. And the publishing houses showed up before her. I was like, I've got 4 publishers. What do we want to do? And anyway, so got the literary agent, and then the literary agent that was verified through Erin, because she does Erin's books as well, got me a talent agent, which that's the hard part is like, who's spammy, who's scammy, like, what is this, So I just started with her. Her name's Claire, and Claire Bermuda, and she's all these people are in New York City. So I have these meetings with people that just talk so fast and are so direct, and I think they all like hate me, but they don't. They're just, they like love me.
No one could possibly hate you, number one.
Yeah, no one could hate you.
It just couldn't be done. So no pressure, don't mess it up. But honestly, it's more that like, don't look at it as demanding something. It's just you're asking. You're just asking.
Right.
I feel like that was weird too when I was pitching through my Instagram, and I would throw out wildly high numbers, and no one ever negotiated down.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever been like, budget. I don't know what I think. I think I guess in my brain, they'll be like, are you serious? You got that? Like, I don't know. They're going to like be mad at me for writing a number, but now I don't have to because she's doing all that. So I'm like super.
I'm so happy that you have an agent. That was going to be my next question is, do you have representation now? Because I know when you went on the St. Jude, there were some big names there, big TikTokers, and they had agents, and they were kind of advice, and it's a whole career.
It is.
Well, it is. And there's not a guide. There's not like a guide for it. And it's individual to account. So it's even like I don't know. It's a whole situation. And it's really difficult to negotiate those prices. But so I'm so glad she's doing that. And it's taken so much off of me. And Cameo is like replaced my whole income and my wife's income. Like it's done that alone has done that. So like I'm trying to keep that up as like a baseline stuff, and then everything else is just bonus, so I can do things with that, like savings and invested in productions, all that kind of stuff. But it's a weird world to go from public school to this and negotiating.
Public school teachers on those salaries in Mississippi in a small town, so I can assume what you're getting paid probably. You went viral, and this has all happened in the last 7 months.
Yes.
You are just holding on for dear life because you know that this is fleeting, that social media. And ultimately, we don't own any of it. We don't own Instagram. We don't own TikTok. Every way that I make money through my influencing could be taken away from me if Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk decided to say bye. So I have to have, my own blog, but that's not going to generate enough. It's crazy to be relying on so many other moving parts to put food on our table.
But that's why what you're doing is so smart, is to write the book and to do the clothing and to diversify and really seize the moment and kind of solidify your name as like the Southern guy.
Yeah.
You are the Southern expert.
Yeah.
And you need to just brand that into people's brains, and you're doing it. You're doing it.
I'm trying to, and there's very talented people that I live around and work with. And Adam Trest is a designer here in town. He's an artist, and he's been on the HGTV show a lot. And we worked together to make like a line of plates, like, Southern blue and white chinoiserie type thing is the whole thing, but like updated in his type of a brand. So we're shopping that around. It's a whole thing. There's just so many, it's like this giant umbrella of so many different opportunities, and they're all everywhere. So it's really wild. I'm glad to have people on board though now to help me direct and guide it all, because it's something else. It's
this is the dream though. Like, this is what is so cool about social media. This is the dream. It's happened for you.
Yeah.
It really is.
When I was at that St. Jude Creators Summit, there was a guy there. He was a FedEx driver. He was still working during COVID, obviously, because he was an essential worker. And he was one of the guys who went viral for dancing while delivering the packages. And now he's obviously not a FedEx driver anymore. He doesn't have to be. And he, quotes $10,000 a 30-second reel all day, every day.
Right. And that's just so wild, because I was like, one of my videos makes like 4 times as if it's like a corporation, it's like so much more money than I took home ever. So it's just outrageous and absurd. And then there's just so many things that we're doing about it. It's just really, really something.
What's your, you're on TikTok as well. What are your feelings from like Instagram Reels to TikTok,
YouTube? How are you managing it all?
So I sit in front of this phone and okay, do you want a behind the scenes tour of the high tech Landon talk? So this is where I do cameos in front of my plants. And then I just twist the phone right over there to that corner because it's empty, and that's where I record the videos. And I just use this Video Leap app, and I don't even know if it's like people use that much. It just was there when I started doing this, and I press cut out and it cuts me out, and then I put the background on there. But I talk for like 4 or 5 minutes, and that is usually like I'll edit out my pauses and gross stuff, and that will go to like YouTube, and then I'll cut it down. I was cutting it down to 3 minutes for TikTok, and then 1.5 minutes for Instagram. So it's these 3 different things. I've lately just been doing the same video for TikTok and Instagram. And then Facebook was the last one, because I was scared of Facebook. I was like, no, the last time I got on Facebook was like 2016, and y'all were wild. So I'm not.
Those people are wild.
Y'all were wild.
So unhinged.
What happened in 2016 that made people so crazy on Facebook? Got it.
I can't imagine. But that was what I thought about it. But I've been really pleased with the Facebook people. They've been really kind over there too as well. So it's growing. It's growing. I got to 10,000 on YouTube last week. So that was fun. And it just builds and builds and builds and builds.
All right. So let's talk about something actually really, really important. Okay. We need to get serious for a second. How can he already tell I'm being sarcastic? He already knows. We got to talk about the hair.
Yes.
We got to talk about the hair.
Okay, you're going to be upset about it.
Everybody's
always mad about it, because
we're not mad about it at all.
Husband's hair, I'm about to say, her husband's hair is
long.
Yeah,
long.
Well, anytime I tell people, everybody wants to know like the secret to it, and everybody's mad about it because there's not a secret.
So how long have you had it that length? Like, did you grow it? My husband grew his out over COVID.
Yeah,
it was for a while, like. When I was in college, it got longer. It was like here-ish, and then it just like I got less and less good. So okay, my wife's stepfather is a stylist. He's the pageant stylist in town. The hair pageant. If you're doing a pageant, he's going to tease your hair to Jesus.
Of course, well, the higher the hair, the closer to heaven. We all know that.
Exactly.
Have you done that on the video?
I have done one before. I think I did one on bows. Like the bigger the bow, the better the Baptist even. So the higher the hair.
Yep. Yeah, that
So
works.
he cuts our hair, but like he doesn't make us pay, so I feel bad about it. So I just like put so much time between it. So he's responsible for the layering, but the rest of it is just whatever is on the bathtub, and that's what I use. And then I don't. Okay, this may be a tip, and everybody gets so mad when I say that I don't style it, but I think maybe that's like why.
Yeah,
like I let it air dry. I don't put heat on it. I don't. There's nothing. I just let it be. And I think that is a whole thing. So it's really just be really lazy is what happened. I don't know.
I like that.
You like that.
I love that. You're speaking directly to my heart because I can't
just
I
let
have
it be.
hair, so I can't shampoo my hair ever. So I just water it about once every 7 to 10 days. I'll water it. No one understands what watering your hair is. And it's water. Like there's no other way for me to describe it. You just water it. You don't add any products to it, but you're still getting it wet because I got to rinse out, whatever bugs are in there from how dirty.
So you've trained your scalp to like know what to expect.
Trained my scalp.
That's right.
People cannot grasp this, Landon, and I really need them to because I'm sick of explaining it.
Yeah, I think we've gone too far with the products and the styling, and we
There's too much.
Let our hair.
And I love products. Like I love to take everything bath and do use all the stuff, but there's not anything that I use consistently, and it's just for just
whatever appears on the tub.
Do you ever do like a man bun? Do you put it up?
Yes, but not on I have like a really bad hair, like this like Naruto, whatever, however you call that, like anime. My kid watches anime.
Yeah.
I just pronounced that wrong and he's gonna be so mad at me. But it's like so extreme, like widow's peak, so I don't put it on the internet, It's just
I like it though.
Yeah.
But yes. That whole thing. When I was teaching,
you have such a signature look with the hair, the glasses, the beard, like everything.
I have glasses from Landon.
A+. They're one of the hardest parts about doing this is the glasses because the glare. It drives me nuts. And I don't know. It's like I just like every day I'm like. So if you ever see me like at an angle,
hold your hands up like
glare was really that's like the only way. I haven't found a solution to that. So then
I'm like, I can tell he's filming at 10 a.m. because he's facing this direction. But at 3 p.m. he's this direction.
Yeah, because my lighting.
That's the secret. Yeah,
the lighting just the French doors. So,
so tell us about your family. You're obviously married. You talk about your wife a lot, and y'all are high school sweethearts.
No, but friends. So okay. So we went to the county schools, and all the county schools for the gifted kids. We got to go to Star each, which was its own campus, and it was once a week. Each grade would go. So like the second grade would go all Monday, so on and so forth. And so I saw her she doesn't remember this because she was Miss Thing, but we went to the playground and she was up on the monkey bars and was really little. And I was always so small, like the smallest person. Now I'm a giant, but I was so tiny. And I just remember going up on the monkey bars and being like, I like this person so much. And we were best friends all through elementary school, all through high school. Even we went to different elementary schools, but at Star Each, I would followed her around. In fourth grade, I explained the car scene from Titanic to her because that was so important, like had not seen it myself, but I just knew the hand was on the wall, anyways.
And that steamy, slow,
So that really was impactful in our relationship. And then all through middle school and high school, we were just very good friends. We started singing in weddings together in like 8th grade, and we were like on the wedding circuit real hard down here for a while.
He's got a great voice.
Oh.
And then in college or later college, we auditioned for American Idol and she made it and everything. It was like a whole thing. She was like on the commercial because she's so good. And on the way back though, she fell asleep in the backseat of the car and her grandmother had taken who's a wonderful lady. She had taken us down there and I was driving and Gran was talking to me the whole night and we were talking about it and she was like, well, wouldn't it be something if you could marry your best friend? And she slowly like looked back at sleeping Kate. And I was like, what? I've never thought that was an option. Because Kaylin was like literally Miss University of Southern Mississippi. She always won all the pageants. She was just like this person that I never thought. I was always just a friend, I'd never even like would allow myself to think about it being something between us. And also she was dating my best friend all through high school.
Well, there is that, I guess, when you mention it. Sure. That is a thing.
We're all still friends. But later in college, they weren't dating anyways. So that put it in my mind, and like less than 2 months later, there we were. I swooped right in, and I didn't know it was an option. I swooped in way earlier. And then we got married a couple years after that, and 12 years later, we've got a 10-year-old, and it's just really something I highly recommend, like marrying somebody that you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marry somebody you want to be around. It's because you're going to be around them.
Yeah. That is a pro tip, everybody. You heard it here first. Breaking news. Landon Talk says, marry someone you like. And if you take nothing else from this entire podcast, I hope it's that.
Solid advice. Marry somebody you like. It's really a revolutionary.
I say the dumbest stuff. I'm famous for saying things like, I never thought to think. I just never thought to think.
Never thought to think.
I relate to that so much. Well, and that's what my account has turned into.
I
sort of. And now I made a whole account.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. If I don't really care, I just can't fake it. So,
much that. And that, so you have the ADHD too, it sounds like, because I can't either at all. And it's defined most of my life is ADHD. That's like what I'm doing here. Like I struggled through college and bounced around through different schools and finally graduated with just whatever degree I could grab, which turned out to be history. But it was hard, but all those different experiences have like led to whatever this is now, so I'm grateful for all of it, but it definitely is like impacted by that very thing, like unable to do it if it's not like what
I'm paralyzed. Yeah, paralyzed by it. And I didn't get diagnosed until I was 40. And I know you're shocked because I don't even look 40.
No, I'm not.
Older. And thank you for saying it so quickly. And so I didn't get diagnosed until I was 40, and I barely take my Adderall because I most of the time can't find it. I have no clue where I left it, and I take it too late, and then I can't sleep, and it's all a big mess. It's just a big mess. But you know what? So is my life. And
so there's other people besides me that everything you just described is my everyday. So that's really great.
It's tough. It's tough to get through. I know that she looks at me like, how does she get through a day? No. Most people in my life are like, woo, we got it. My kids especially will text me and be like, don't forget, you have to pick us up from school. Like it's a daily thing. I should be able to remember it, but I do need friendly reminders. But now they're both teenagers, and the older one takes care of the younger one. And so I'm
that's great.
Yeah. I'm almost scot-free there. So I don't have to remember too many times to pick them up from school.
So she can just take care of herself.
And that's a feat. Yeah. Just
now. Okay, Landon, I have to ask you this before we go. So I've said this to her, that what I call like death row meal, so like final meal before I die, would be a traditional Southern breakfast. I love a Southern breakfast, specifically her biscuits and gravy. And if we do ever get to meet you in real life, she's going to make that.
Done.
I love biscuits and gravy. I love a country ham. I love a fried egg. Like that would be my final meal. So I have to know what your final meal would be. And I'm assuming it would be Southern, something Southern.
Well, definitely. Being Southern with food makes it hard to go other places that's like good with food. Like we went to Vegas and everybody was like, the food. And we got there and we're like, meh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was, anyways, it would be something Southern, but it would be like my grandma's food, like that fried chicken, biscuits, all the stuff, the trappings, put a tomato on the side of it, that whole
slice of tomato. Yes.
The whole thing, all that.
And that's how I know I'm not Southern. That's how I know cornbread. I'm not Southern.
But you know what?
You ever done a tomato with breakfast?
No.
A salt and pepper tomato?
No.
Salt and pepper tomato. That's it right there. You got to have salt and pepper tomato. But you know what I just thought about? I guess if I had to think of like one dish, I love cornbread and milk. Like I love Southern cornbread. And then you put it in a glass of milk. I know. But that's it. That's it right there. That's it right there. I know.
You got to try it. Try it.
Okay.
It's got to be, it's fried, it's crispy cornbread. It's a specific thing. It's like the pan is, okay, y'all, if you're making cornbread, the skillet is heated.
Yes.
Before you put the cornbread in there.
Yes, of course. So that it can get that crispy edge before it finishes.
We don't want a not crispy edge for cornbread and milk. There's got to be the crispy edge. But that's pretty peak meal right there, I feel like.
That sounds good. You know what else I love? A breakfast item, a corned beef hash. You know I like a corned beef hash.
Yeah, you do love a corned beef hash.
With a fried egg on top.
Yes. I do like that too. I like a runny yolk going down. I'm just, my last meal is going to be crab legs.
Crab legs.
Okay. Yeah. We like crabs.
Yeah, that's still, well, it's not Southern because technically that's more Maryland and stuff like that. But I love crab legs, and that is my final meal through and through.
I think you can still, like, my parents have a house on the coast near Litchfield Beach, like Pawleys Island area, and it's very Southern down there.
Yeah.
And you go to the crab houses, get the crab legs,
That's
the steamed corn,
Yeah.
the fried okra, the coleslaw.
That's
Southern to me.
I think of crabs as Southern because my aunt lives on the coast in Ocean Springs, and she would do literally go to the dock, pull up the basket of crabs.
Yeah.
Crab boil, the whole thing.
I do love a crab boil.
Maybe that would be your final, a crab boil.
A blue crab boil is really delicious. Really.
But you know what I don't like? And this is what gets my Southern card revoked every time. Mashed potatoes.
What? Even doused in gravy?
No.
What about them?
That's not right.
No.
The texture?
I just think that you have to add so much to them to make them yummy. And so then I'm just like, well, what's the point? I don't need all that stuff. I'll just put my gravy on my chicken or something. And I like chicken a lot better than mashed potatoes.
Well, I think she needs to try your Grand's mashed potatoes, Landon. And
for sure. I've never analyzed mashed potatoes before as an option of not being good. And now I'm going to go taste the mashed potatoes and be like,
Think about it this way. If you just take potatoes, boil them, blend them up. That's boring.
Yeah.
You're not going to like that. But if you add enough butter, sour cream, salt and pepper, cream or milk or whatever. Okay. So now we've added 15,000 calories to make the potatoes palatable.
Yeah, but that's Southern cooking, baby.
I know it is. But I'm just saying, could there be another vegetable that doesn't need all of that I will equally enjoy? And I have to save the room in my belly for that.
I love it.
I just realized that even though I've watched and made mashed potatoes my whole life and added the butter and the sour cream and the milk, I've never considered it to be not just potatoes. So that is that's a new concept.
I know. People's minds are blown every time that I say, hey, we need all of this. And that's my gripe with In-N-Out too, because I had a hot take on a road trip one time that I did not like In-N-Out. I was not impressed. Their fries were garbage. And everyone's like, animal style. You have to get them animal style. And I'm thinking, you're messing up a French fry?
Yeah.
That you need to cover with so many things to make it delicious. A French fry should be able to stand alone.
Agreed. Fully agree.
I agree. It fully should. But you can make a sloppy fry, though, at the dairy bar. And that's where they'll
What's the sloppy fry?
They'll put roast beef on top of it and gravy and cheeses. It's like poutine, but Southern.
Oh, I love poutine.
Oh.
And it's real good. And they even have sloppy tots.
Of course they have sloppy tots, because if you're going to do a sloppy fry, you got to do a sloppy tot.
Mm-hmm.
And I do
so
like
the whole thing. But the tots and fries.
We may need to cut down and
do a tour in Laurel.
Do a food tour.
Oh, it'd be so fun.
Are you going to BravoCon?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know anything about it yet. But I've done a bunch of podcasts on Bravo shows.
He needs to go to BravoCon.
I'm wondering, because we just got our ticket.
You need
so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I don't know what that is, but I would do it probably just like this.
You don't know what BravoCon is?
No. I mean, I'm assuming it's a convention about Bravo.
Way to put two and two together there. See, that Mississippi Walmart high school was just fine.
I didn't need those tests.
It needed it too.
I didn't need a state test that year.
You didn't. And I didn't want you to take the test that year anyway. You had been through enough. So what happened? Yes, it's a convention, but they've had it in 19 and 22. And we went to both of those. And it's just all the Bravo Lebs showing up. I just figured if you were a Southern Charm fan, you might be fun.
Leva is so nice to me on the internet. She follows me and gives me advice sometimes. She's such a good businesswoman, but she's also really nice. She's so nice in real life. There's so many people though that I would love to meet from the Bravo situations.
I feel like you need to ask your agent.
Yes.
I would say to your agent, hey,
Get a press pass.
First week of November is BravoCon in Las Vegas. If that works for you, say, I would love to try to go, and have her put her feelers out and see if she can get you a ticket.
They have press passes. People are going for press. You certainly
very
are.
Fun. That is very fun. It's so wild to consider myself press. That's like nuts.
You are.
I tried. I tried.
We're press.
I was like, I have a podcast, 22.2K. Hello. I have 1,000 on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Not press. And it was a big no. It was a big no for me. But for you, I think that yes, especially since you have an agent, I'm just throwing it out there because then we can all hang in Vegas. Yeah.
That would be so fun. I cannot even imagine. It's just so wild, all the opportunities. Like the second week I'm flying up to New York to talk to the lingua franca people. And at their place, at the last meeting I had with them, Reese Witherspoon was there, just casually saying hello, just like nuts.
Oh my gosh, the life you're living. I can't.
This is bonkers to me that this is all since April, and yet I can't go viral to save my life, and I've been trying for a decade.
It's just nuts. It's just nuts. And you know what you're saying earlier about the niche down thing? That used to make me so mad when I would hear it before this all happened. I'd be like, but what is the niche? Like, okay, niche down, fine. I would love to niche down, like I would love to. But how do you do that? And I didn't mean to. So I don't know I wonder what the solution to that is, to telling other creators like how to niche down, because that's such a hard concept to do. It just landed in my lap, I feel like.
But you know what I think it is? It has to be so authentic to who you are, who you really are. And that has to shine through. And that's why it's worked for you, because your niche is true to you and things that you know.
Stayed in Laurel, Mississippi. Yeah. Maybe you would have been like, I'm not made for this. Like I was, just because I was raised here and everything, maybe there's more and I want to get out and see what that is. But you stayed. I think that's really authentic about you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that came back here, actually. It was just so surprising. And it like revived the town. The town was like a ghost town. Like there was like a coffee shop downtown and empty buildings. And now there's not a space available. It's just like full of people, full of stuff. And it's really this creative place. It's just so wild. The whole thing is wild. It feels like I've had a psychotic break and I'm hallucinating like every day. Like every time I open my phone, I'm like, okay, so I made this up. And this is not real. That's what it feels like all the time. And I will go in the living room and like say what
psychotic break. Psychotic break. That's the title. Psychotic break with Landon. Yeah. There it is. Thanks for giving us the title.
That's a fun segment. That's so funny.
Is that the name of the book?
No, the book's gonna be Bless Your Heart.
Oh, that's perfect.
And it'll be out in 2025, so that's gonna be so fun. I got to get it written by March and I'm working on it now. It's so fun, the process of that, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, there's I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by what you've been able to do, that you have built such an amazing platform that it's full of nice people, that you seem absolutely lovely, and that it hasn't jaded you and it hasn't made you harden to anything. It doesn't seem like you seem to still be a devoted dad and husband.
So proud of your family.
Like so proud of your family. It's just it's so sweet to see.
Oh, that's so nice, y'all. I just love him so much. I'm like obsessed with him so much. And I struggle between like wanting to be like, y'all look what my kid did, and keeping him proud, like letting that be his choice later whenever he decides if he wants to be blasted on the internet or not. We'll see. But I'm just kind of obsessed with him, with him for always. He's just the best. And now I get to drop him off at school and he bounces into the school, and when he comes out, they're like sitting on the sidewalk and he gets up and he's like just bouncy and excited, and I'm always just so glad to see him when I pick him up. It's just so great. And this is so great because now I get to be dad way more than I was instead of teacher. I've been his art teacher since he was a 4-year-old student, so we went to school together every day. And my wife went at the same school, so we all would just go to school together and come home. And this is the first time I've sent him to school alone, so I was like so upset about it and so scared and all this stuff. But learning to like just be dad, and I get to be available more almost. Like I was there with him physically, but now when he gets off, I'm ready to go be dad. And so this has been such a blessing.
Important. Dads are so important in families, and it's amazing that you're able to. We have very devoted husbands and fathers.
I'm so glad. You know what's something I noticed, and I think COVID did. My wife said this about it. We were in Disney World. The dads were really dadding everywhere.
Yeah.
Like dads were dadding, and that's
Dads
not
were
the case. That has not always been the case. Like we were there in 2019, and that was not the case. I think that dads have stepped up by having to be home a little bit. I can't speak for everybody, but there was definitely way more dads dadding than
Yes.
I've seen in the past. So I hope that trend continues to go because he's the biggest blessing in my life I've ever had. Like I worked in healthcare before education, like just as a tech in the ER and the ICU. So when he was born, I really did a lot of the caretaking. And it's just the best thing to have that relationship with somebody in something. So I'm really glad to see that both for the kids and for the dads because it's such a great.
What does he think of your new job and your fame and your virality and everything? Does he know anything about it? Do his friends know anything about it?
They don't care at all. Like because I was just their art teacher. So really this is inconvenient for them because now I'm not their art teacher. And so they're like,
it is inconvenient.
It's like so inconvenient. And he is just like, what are you ever talking about on there? I'm not cool as far as that goes on the internet, not in the cool thing. They're like their humor is so different and so weird and I don't know. So he's like glad because it's given him opportunities. Obviously, like, there's new opportunities and but he doesn't care.
Take him back to Disney World with that book cash and maybe he'll
exactly
a little bit more.
It's like how did this building that droid feel? It felt good, huh?
My kids love the influencer perks. They might not like they don't really care about other things, but they're like, hey, did you get tickets to Disney on Ice? I'm like, yeah, I got tickets. So like, then they're happy as can be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
otherwise, he's just like, you just talk. Why are you just talking?
Talking on my phone all day.
Yeah, talking. And now I'm hanging with Reese Witherspoon. So know that.
Which again is perfect because she's a Southern girl.
She's a Southern girly.
And after I told Claire that, the agent, she was like, oh, well, we're fixing to work with Hello Sunshine. So I think I've got something with Reese Witherspoon anyways. And Laura Dern was there too, talking. And so I got to see, and I wanted to be like, you're my mom. Like, you're my mom from Jurassic Park. I know you weren't a mom in Jurassic Park, but I imagined you as my mom.
Yeah, you were like a scientist, but I'm going to make you my mom anyway because you're a female lead. So
right, exactly.
We were just talking about Jurassic Park on one of our former episodes because Kristen's like, yeah, they parasailed like onto the island, which I think parasailing is so stupid. And so she's like, huh?
And that was a bad idea. It didn't work out well.
It didn't work out.
I've been trying to tell these people. I'm like, please listen to me. Parasailing is not where it's at. It's either boring or it's dangerous. Like, and I know that those two things don't usually go together, but if it's done correctly, it's boring. And if it's done incorrectly, it's dangerous. So I don't understand why anybody wants to spend $80 to do it. I think it's
There's no reason. We are not supposed to be up there like that.
No, we're not. Our human brains, we don't comprehend. It's like roller coasters too.
I love roller coasters.
We're not supposed to be doing the death drop though, because our ancestors. Can you imagine what they would think?
They'd be so upset. I love roller coasters too. They love roller coasters. Don't love parasails. Love roller coasters.
And Dollywood has some good roller coasters.
I know. I'm so excited about it. I've got to look into what I'm actually doing there now that we're talking about because it's the end of this month. It's like the 25th or the 26th. I need to find out.
He's a booked and busy guy. He's a booked and busy guy.
You're getting
and not good at scheduling. So
we love it. We're so happy for you. We can't thank you enough for giving us time.
Yes. Thank you, Landon.
Well, this was so fun. I feel like I know y'all and that we're friends. So this is so fun.
Friends.
Following you on there. And now we're friends. And whenever I'm near where y'all are, we're going to hang out.
Absolutely. And seriously, look into BravoCon because it's going to be the best time. And there's going to be so many people who follow you there who are going to go wild over you being there.
They will go wild.
That's so crazy. I can't believe that.
It would be such a great crossover. I mean, like, and if you want us to be your bodyguards, which is what I'm hearing, we're available and we'll do it.
No, we would need bodyguards.
All of us. Right. Okay. I see why your wife is happy. He is full of confidence. He knows exactly what to say.
He's a Southern gentleman.
He is.
No, I'm so difficult to deal with. Like she has to deal with my ADHD all day long and like make sure get in the chair and do the work.
It makes up for it. So we need to ba-ba-doo. It's easy as the birds and the bees and the 1, 2, 3s. That's our, obviously Southern charm. Exit
music.
Yeah, exit music for Landon Talks, who has joined us all the way from Mississippi to talk about just how crazy his life has been for 7 months. We hope that y'all have enjoyed it. Landon, they can find you at Landon Talks on Instagram,
TikTok, Facebook, and Landon Talks a lot on YouTube because they're longer.
I did see that. I saw that it was Landon Talks a lot. And then, very important, if you would like to book a cameo, Landon is doing cameos. He did one for our sweet friend Sonia, and they're awesome. She said it like literally made her whole. She's been going through a lot, and a very sudden passing of her husband earlier this year, and that like your cameo is what like made her smile for.
Well, I mean, obviously, like I like to make money off cameo, but I really love to do those cameos. Like I really take the time to think about the people and talk to them. And I feel like I have the right words to say sometimes. I don't know why or what it is. I think it's all the ADHD experiences of life have led me to be able to say these things. So I love to do cameos. I really love to do cameos.
Well, I want people to continue to book you on cameos. And then, of course, when your book comes out, we'll be sharing it, promoting it, talking all about it. And by then, we'll have at least 3 times the amount of followers.
3 times. I feel like that's safe.
Yeah, that's a safe bet.
A year and a half.
Yeah, do that. And so we'll just continue to hype you up because you deserve it.
Yes.
Well, y'all let me know when this comes out and I'll blast it on my page. People love to listen to these things, I think. I don't know. They usually do.
Yeah, they do. They love it. I mean, we're soaring through the charts. So we're grateful for you taking the time to do this with us, and maybe we'll talk again soon.
For sure. I loved this. This was so fun.
Right.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Hey, thanks,
Bye.
Bye.